Wagwan collectors. That is supposedly Jamaican for how you doing. And this paint scheme makes me think of the Jamaican flag, so I apologize for offending anyone by butchering that language. Anyways, we have the Inno64 branded diecast vehicle of the Liberty Walk RX3 Savanna, and this is one of the official Liberty Walk cars that Kato owns. And there's the part number, and it is licensed by Liberty Walk themselves. You can even buy it off the Liberty Walk website, but it's pricey. This was more expensive than the usual Inno64s that I get at my dealership. But, you know, I got to inspect it in person, so at least 3 sides of this look pretty good. I don't know about the other side, but we'll find out. So it's been a while since I've bought a realistic looking RX3. But let's see here, that case seems okay. A little bit of a ghosted image there on that card. And we got one screw. We know it's an Inno product because that's molded in. I'm not going to take it off the base. Look at the tire. These things don't roll. This thing is all about looking nice, not about playing with. The base is nice though. It's I think it's printed. I don't know if it's a piece of paper stuck on there. It's possible it's some sort of vinyl sticker or something like that. Hopefully that won't peel off in the future. It might though. I don't think it's tampo printed. I think there's thickness to it. But for today, it does look like a road, and it's got like a grainy texture like a road has. It's a little bit shiny, but oh well, looks good enough. Let's compare to some images here. It's supposed to have a 2-rotor rotary engine, making around 200 horsepower. These over fenders are pretty crazy. Yeah, they're just so wide. It must be nice to be able to design totally irrational, expensive products. You know, it must be fun to work for these people. Notice these panel gaps are atrocious because this is an old car. This is something actually M2 machines should probably make, because that's what their panel gaps look like all the time. Alright, look at that rear view. You can see the whole tire is almost sticking outside the body, so that's quite a wide thing. But the panels, you know, it's warped where it's screwed into the actual body of the stock vehicle. So I don't know if these are molded over fenders or literally like a piece of sheet metal and it's all bent and stuff. Anyways, I don't own that car, nor will I be modifying a real RX3 anytime soon. Also known as the Savanna in Japan. Let's start with the front wheel here. So it's a black steel wheel. It's very glossy as far as this paint goes. And yeah, the tire is well rounded and it's very high profile like an old car would have. And the Dunlop that I can see is done nicely. It is screwed to the base tight enough that that has a flat spot like a real car, so that's realistic. Although honestly I prefer my tires to be round so I can rotate in them and not have a flat spot on them. The over fender there, yeah, the paint separation is pretty good. I don't know if it's a decal. I almost feel like it is a decal because you can see this orange peel effect, right? If that was paint, it would probably be smoother, right? See, look how sharp the reflection is on here. It's a straight line pretty much, but here it's all mottled because the surface is mottled, which again makes me think it's a decal. Okay, well, anyways, the number 3 here. Now, yeah, that's less mottled. That might actually, maybe that is paint, that over fender, because I don't see any of the white edge, not the white edge, I don't see any of the clear edge of a decal around this white circle. So this circle I almost feel is paint, but I might be mistaken. But then here, let's see, that might be a decal because it's crossing over. No, but it's going in. Yeah, I don't know. It's so far there's no weird air pockets, so that's good. Whether it's paint or a decal, I still don't know. A bump here, black recesses, a little black on that protruding door handle. The windows are molded. The molding is part of it, and it's painted black. And then we have what I assume now this is a decal, so you can see the clear edge or outside of the white edge. But it's laid on nice. So the GT here. I don't know if that's printed or a decal. The separate mirror here has a reflective sticker, so that's as real as it gets. Going around to the rear, now we can see the Dunlop on the tire. Oh boy, it's so glossy. There we go. I almost feel like the tire has a gray wall on it, right? It's not all black. I don't know if there's such a thing in the real world where they actually like have a painted on gray ring on tires, or did they do that perhaps to just show like maybe the break between the tire and the glossy wheel? I'm not sure. Unfortunately, this wheel here might have a scratch, or maybe that's glue residue. I shouldn't pick at it. Let's just leave it alone. The wheel itself is a center cap, some lug nuts. I guess that's okay. And then yeah, this obnoxious fender flare. But you'll notice these fender flares have no indication of the body screws going into the main body. Right? There's no dimples. There's no protruding bolt heads or anything like that. So I mean that's something a lot of other brands, even probably Hot Wheels, would have. So why, why? You could have done it. Very well. Moving on, we have some black surrounding this raised reflector. Is there a reflector up front? No, there's not. Okay, look at that exhaust. Interesting. And that's a license plate behind it. We'll get to the rear again later. Let me back out here a little bit. Going to the front. Let's see the grill here. Alright, get some light into that grill. It's like a squished honeycomb. Very nice headlights, and they're actually all oriented vertically. There's some sort of Fresneling that's on the outside surface. Okay, I like how there's two different colors, just like the photographs. I also like that this license plate is here. I think it's a 3 on the front photo. It's hard to tell on the front photo. They bent the license plate, but it's probably a 3. It's painted on orange here for these reflectors, or these are probably turn signals actually. There's 2 black dots there. I can't see in the photos, but I would imagine there must be something, maybe rivets or something on the real car. And then the real car actually does have yellow painted bumpers. Interesting. This chin lip actually literally has a hole going through it, so I'm going to assume that's realistic to the real front photograph that I pulled up. Very well. This side. That also is going in there, so that's a well-laid decal if it is that. There's no rear bumper on this car in the photographs, so that's correct. Going to the rear lights. Yeah, those are good color separation of the lights. I think the whole thing is probably clear red, and they painted the black on top of it, but they must have co-molded some orange in there. And then I suppose I think these are the backup lights, and they're just printed on the surface. Again, nice to have a license plate, and how this is pretty impressive. This is a bent license plate, and that's on the rear photograph. They literally bent the license plate, probably to avoid police, right? Police can't read that plate if it's bent like that. So that's actually really impressive that they went through that effort to match the real car. And then we have some black slots painted on. Those are maybe, well, I guess just lightning holes in the unibody. So there's also a dimple raised here. I guess it's not a dimple. Dimples are recesses, right? Anyways, there's a bump. I'm guessing that's for the lock. There's also 2 tiny dots there. Probably screws holding the wing on, but none up here. Alright, well, anyways, the striping here, I feel like this is paint because I don't see the wrinkliness between the green. So I think that's good. And then look at this. I think they're all lined up. Let me, yeah, that's a really well aligned stripe across the 3 surfaces. Right? So very impressive. Very good. And the stuff on the rear window, that might be, well, I don't know. I don't know if I almost feel like those are tampo printed as well. There's no like outline connecting these graphics together, but this one looks like there's actually glue holding it on, so I don't know, there's multiple things going on. They did print on with paint the defroster lines, but they're not so thick that that's blocking the rear view. You can still see the roll cage pretty easily in the seats as well, so that's good. Then the front we have what looks like, this printing here, that's tampo printed. the blackout of the windows tampo printed. Then we have photo etched metal wiper blades. That's impressive, and I think it's, well, maybe they're actually even bent perpendicular to the windscreen. At least that far one is, not the close one. Alright, then we got some black venting details here. I can feel these ridges. I don't know if that's just the ridging of the paint I feel, or if there's literally casted in recesses there. Again, this stripe is going into the crease, same here, so that's very good. And then this white thing looks pretty good as well. So it's hard to say. I don't know if that's a decal or not, but if it is, they did a great job getting it into all those gaps. So hopefully it won't crack off because there's no air under them. And all over here as well, this green carrying across. And there's a name here. Let me try to zoom in on that name. I'm at 4 times magnification. Shakotan Koya? Maybe? No, Koya 2? I don't know. Maybe with a better magnifying glass you could figure out who's driving this car, but it's nice that they went through the effort of, putting that there. Okay, so now here, that is a lack of green. I don't know if that's a lack of decal or a lack of paint. I couldn't see that in the packaging, it's on the back side of the packaging, so a little bit of a flaw there. But that's the only flaw I see. Considering how much is going on this model, I'm pretty good with that. Black interior, I think we're going to need a flashlight. Let me get in there. So, hollow steering wheel, clearly some gauges on the instrument cluster. Yeah, and then the center console. I wonder if that center console is silver or something, or they put something in those 3 round dials. The glove box there, some sort of buttons maybe, or something to open the glove box. What's the door panel look like? Yeah, there's an armrest over there, some diagonal striping on the door. It's a molded window, so you're not going to get the clearest view in there. Little stick shift looks good. Again, silver in the middle. There's a big red box. Oh, that's probably the battery right there on the passenger side. Yeah, alright. So the seats look maybe a tampo print or decal of some sort of holes and maybe a brand or something on the middle. Actually, I think it's a decal because you can see the air gaps behind those where the stripes are. What do the seat backs look like? Okay, they're kind of high. The roll cage there is pretty good. You can see the bottom of the roof where the clear plastic is. So that roll cage is pressed up right against it. That's as good as they could get it. And also there's a rear view mirror hanging there. So I guess it's part of the window molding, but they painted silver on the mirror part, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, that door panel there again. Yeah, pretty great interior. I don't know if you're going to see much in the rear because that, sponsorship on the windows is blocking it. But I would have to assume there might be some seats back there. Yeah, I think so, right there. Yeah, even door panels for the rear. So that's cool. Also, the graphics on this side window are different than the graphics on that side, right? So that's cool. So we're gonna look at 4 other cars today. So this is, I guess, a stock Savanna or stock RX3, and this is by Konami. Pretty old, copyright 2003. These Konamis have suspension, some old school treads. They're diecast, still pretty good, even by today's standards. The clear headlights, maybe those are painted on taillights, but the overall molding not bad, and pleasantly, I don't see any major paint rash. Okay. Unfortunately for this Aoshima Grachan car, being red diecast, this is all a mess. Look at that. So this is why diecast is horrible. We gotta... I really wish every brand just went to plastic bodies, because I'm pretty sure the plastic will last longer than diecast. Unless it's Hot Wheels, because Hot Wheels seems to know what they're doing. I think they make powder coat their bodies. Anyways, Aoshima here, plastic base. This has BNDS plastic wheels, and I think I probably added my own brakes to them. Yeah, funky cars, the Grachans, but yeah, that paint rash is not appealing to look at. My favorite rotary powered is the FD3S, the RX-7 of this generation. It's like a funky bar of soap. And this one has the livery from Initial D, and this is a Kyosho. So, screwed together. Some Kyoshos are press fit together. I added my own license plate, just printed on taillights. And then another Kyosho. This is an RX3 concept car. I think it's an RX5 or what is it? No, RX500. So, yeah, I forget the story behind this concept car. Maybe they're just trying to push rotary engines in general. I think this might be from the 70s. But correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember everything. Alright. I gotta say, it's a pretty nice model. I'm pretty happy, which is rare. It's rare for me when it comes to 164. Only one minor blemish in that green side that I couldn't see in the packaging. So, but everything else, it looks pretty fantastic. And I'm really, the bent license plate really gets me. That's really impressive. Also the photo, well, yeah, it's a thin piece of metal at the front license plate and the back license plate. You got the photo etch wiper blades, and I didn't really talk about the exhaust, but they're very thin, and they look like tubes, even though they're bent. So I'm assuming those are probably plastic molded bar. You can't focus on it, of course. Too close. There we go. So anyways, those exhausts look pretty neat. So even though it's a diecast, a little bit of details that you would find on a resin model. You know, the only problem is, will this become a disaster like this? You know, that's what I'm concerned about with all these diecasts. I don't know if they're powder coating these bodies or doing whatever Mattel does. I'm gonna guess maybe a lot of them aren't. Right? They're just trying to basically cash in as cheap as possible. They may or may not be thinking about long-term longevity. Although with Inno, because it actually is licensed, maybe this brand wants to stick around. Inno is part of a larger company, so it's possible they might be doing it correctly. Hopefully. I guess in 10 years we'll find out. Hopefully I'm alive then. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next diecast video.